Hello and welcome to Radio Free Nintendo. I'm James Jones. I'm joined today by John Lindemann.
It's great to be here, James.
Guillaume Vayette.
Good evening. Greg
Leahy.
John passed up a really nasty opportunity there to be very loud in the immediate.
He did.
Just in case anybody had enough time to turn the volume up to hear your very, very softly spoken intro, and then John just goes, "Hello!"
Yeah, well, he caught me off guard. He never goes to me first, so I had to come off mute and everything.
Personally, I am thankful for your restraint as the editor.
Yeah.
I frequently change up the order of who I come to. I try to keep it random.
Yeah.
I'm also joined by the date June 19th, 2025, because that's today's date. And episode 930, because that's today's episode. Since the Google Podcast app went away, because they decided the app that they were spending almost no time keeping up to date, needed to go away anyway, and I've had to use Pocket Cast, which kind of sucks. It's fine. It gets the job done, but boy, does it also fuck up other stuff. Basic things like not skipping around in timelines. Excuse me, AntennaPod, not Pocket Casts. Sorry, Pocket Cast, for that unintentional slander. Which is technically isn't, because it wasn't intentional. It randomly decided to serve me episode 890 something this week. And I'm like, did I fuck up the numbers that bad and nobody noticed? And then I realized, no, this actually was episode 890 something. And I'm like, oh, no, this is just AntennaPod being a dick. Cool. Thanks for that. So, this is episode 930. And so, James, if you're hearing this and it's not June, maybe July, maybe you got way behind. If it's September, it's AntennaPod again. It's just fucking AntennaPod again. Don't worry about it. Don't have a panic attack. So yeah, we're going to talk about a bit of new business today, but we're actually going to start with the DK Direct that we got on was it Wednesday?
Yesterday.
Yeah, it was Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah. Donkey Kong Bananza Direct, which really just directly to you rocks. So we got to see this game in action. We've seen this game in action quite a bit, but when they did the Treehouse thing, they were even more so now, quite obviously being cagey about what they showed. They were very clearly sitting on a lot of stuff that they didn't show that we got to see yesterday. Not least of which the identity of the little boulder thing that followed around on DK's shoulder. Which it's amazing they were able to not show this and do that whole ass demo. But that little rock thing that DK picks up turns out to be a young Pauline. They called it Odd Rock. Mm-hmm. And she sings. Because that's apparently her defining characteristic now, is that she sings. And she has some kind of relationship with DK, although this raises all kinds of questions about what was happening during the actual Donkey Kong games. I'm not prepared to answer these questions at this time. My lawyer has encouraged me to not do that. But it does raise the question of, is Mario the bad guy? A question answered by
Mario is Robert Baratheon. And Donkey Kong and Pauline are Rhaegar Targaryen, and one of the Starks. I've forgotten. It's going to start a civil war. That's the punchline.
Fair enough. So yeah, we got to see a lot of this game in action. It's 15 minutes long, but we actually got to see a little bit deeper game than we saw in the Treehouse Live, where it was really just focused on the very, very, very beginning of the game. We got to see we got to see the cycle of collecting items and stuff, and the economy and all that things, and there obvious parallels to Mario Odyssey. That obviously, besides just shared tech and a look that seems very Odyssey-like, the gameplay cycle very closely mimics it, including collecting one type of currency in order to get clothing, collecting another type of currency in order to buy moons. I mean, bananas. Also, the moons look kind of like bananas already, so we're kind of already halfway there.
Yeah, it's funny. A friend of mine, I have not seen this yet. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but a friend of mine texted me and he said, I had no plans to really buy this, but this is pretty much DK Odyssey. So, okay, as soon as I saw that, I had to get it. And as soon as his son saw it too, he's like, yep, my kid had to have it too. So, yeah, it's very much, very, very Donkey Kong Odyssey, very, very Mario Odyssey, Donkey Kong Odyssey, inspired for sure, from what I'm hearing.
I liked what we saw. It looked very interesting, but yeah, like that gameplay loop is very Odyssey-like.
It's funny because personally, I got like Wario vibes from it, just from all the collecting, but probably like that.
There is a lot of collecting in Odyssey.
Yeah, no, that's true. Probably my comparison probably doesn't stand up to scrutiny, but like for a significant portion of it, I was like, this could have been a Wario game, except for the kind of the overt kind of cribbing from the 2D Donkey Kong Country games. Then like okay, I recognize it's definitely DK inspired, but I don't know. So I want to make this point because I like to complain and I like to rain on people's parades. But I hope that the digging mechanic and the finding stuff behind destructible environments doesn't make this kind of like a Wario Land 2 in a bad way. To me, that's a derogatory comparison to make. Because I hate in Wario Land 2 the way that every wall, or almost every wall, could be breakable. There's no real clue that if a wall is breakable or not. And behind it, what do you find? Some coins. Just some coins. And I find that I prefer when secrets in Nintendo platformers are a little bit more rare, but a little bit more meaningful. And something like Wario Land 2 was like, okay, well, if every wall is breakable, then I have to try to smash every wall, and that's tedious. That's not exciting. And that's kind of what I'm afraid of looking at this trailer. Like they showed like, hey, see like this mound of rock. Well, here's like a time lapse, video of us completely destroying it, and you can do that too if you want. And I'm looking at it and I'm just like, why the hell would I want to do that? That looks tedious. How long did it take you?
Well, it's a time-lapse video, so it suggests it's longer than is entertaining to look at in a commercial, essentially.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I just don't know about what I'm seeing. Like, I'm not that excited to find the little nuggets of gold as you're digging random places, and maybe you find something, maybe you don't. We'll get, we do have tools to find secrets, but we'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, that's with you've got that clapping echolocation thing that DK does in this, right? So that, I guess you could, if you're making an analogy to, a game that has some relationship with those Wario Land games because of the developers in common, like Super Metroid and the X-ray visor. It's like the X-ray visor is nice to have in some ways, but then equally, like, the thought of actually going into every room and especially because of the interface in Super Metroid is not that slick, kind of selecting it and then scanning every, room to see if there's some little bit, that's could be bombed or you could slip through or all that is, not exactly, especially applying it into like 3D maybe that doesn't sound that kind of appetizing, but equally, I guess it does at least give you the idea of like, well, you wouldn't physically have to like smash everything to see if there's something worth finding. Like, I guess that at least it would be quicker than that in terms of you would scan it essentially to see if there's something worth it. But that itself could become an issue for like the pacing or, bogging down the action if it feels too kind of crucial. So yeah, kind of interested to see how that balances out and how many of these things feel like they're kind of breadcrumbs, so you wouldn't necessarily just have to spam the radar, the echolocation thing to find any of these things, and it's more just like the design leads you to it. That's kind of what you would expect from something more crafted. But I guess, this does have some of that kind of, post Breath of the Wild and even Odyssey, a little bit of like, okay, well, we want you to be able to do to things your own way to a degree. And of course, in Odyssey, that manifests itself in the case of like, well, and this was somewhat true going all the way back to the way they did Mario 64. It's like, well, you don't need to have all the moons, right, to progress necessarily. There's only certain like key ones, like key bosses or whatever, but it could be you get the moons you need just by, the kind of scavenger hunting stuff, or it could be that you get it because you ruthlessly hunt down and complete all the platform challenges. So yeah, I imagine there'd be some amount of that kind of flexibility in play here, and therefore hopefully if you're averse to some of these elements where it's more just like you fuck about, you make things, because it showed that as well, didn't it, where you could like rip off chunks of rock and throw them together and like make a little tower or protrusion out of them, and like making things, destroying things. Like, clearly it's going to be key to the action in general, but the more kind of just like for the hell of it element, it presumably is going to be something that is to a fair degree up to your kind of discretion. But until we see how that balances out in practice, we just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where like seeing how Odyssey, like it is wrapped and presented, makes me confident that it'll be good, but I still really need to play it, because all that digging stuff that they're really pushing, like, it could just be tedious, or it could be really fun and transformative. I just don't know, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to tell from a video, because it's one of those things where like the individual interactions may be fun, but over the course of a game, it might not be. If that makes sense. Like, it wears out its welcome. So, kind of waiting to see, but I really want to just play the fucking thing now. Like, now that I've seen it, it's like, I just want to play it. I just want to play the game. It looks good. Please put it in my hands. You collect banana coins to buy bananas, which is weird, because banana coins are just slices of bananas. Why can't I just, like, glue them together or some shit? I did like that the presentation for the Direct kind of kept talking about things you're introducing, and it almost felt like somebody had made a YouTube joke where they're just editing all the things that you collect together from different games to make it sound like one long chain of collectibles. But it went through quite a few of them. But again, Odyssey had a billion things to pick up too, so that's not shocking that this game that looks to all the world like it has Odyssey's DNA in it, has Odyssey's DNA in it. I mean, the fact that there's also a little escort character on your shoulder that you can have the second player play as. It does support online game share, which I guess if you want to play Cappy mode online, you can. Well,
they did add that for Odyssey as well, didn't they? So I guess it was pretty much you would have taken that as a slam dunk, and here it is. And yeah, so the whole thing of like now. You can use the mouse mode to control the cursor, but I guess that's probably a little bit more fluid for the person playing the kind of helper character there. And it's all about, Pauline, like, singing things at enemies to take them out. But it also has this weird sort of element of like I guess there's maybe with the whole destructibility thing, this is something that kind of is necessary or makes sense in the construction of the environments, but it seems like we have a kind of hierarchy of materials in the game, and the Pauline can kind of like copy a particular material so that when she sings the sort of words that come out comic book style, and her enemies will be made out of like stone or gold or whatever it is that they copy. And I don't know whether that has any kind of puzzle solving kind of utility on top of just what it can.
It's got to have some focus, or they wouldn't have bothered.
You would think so, wouldn't you? But maybe it's a little more involved, therefore, than some of these kind of helper character dynamics that they've had in various games over the years. But obviously there has to be kind of a limit to it, right? Because in the end, it's something that single players are going to be able to handle as well. So yeah, I can't imagine it's desperately like fascinating for that second player, but it seems like maybe there's a little bit of a wrinkle there.
Yeah, that's fair. This is another example of, besides the Pauline thing and the weird comic book singing and the fact that she sings in English in the Japanese version, at least in the trailer that they released, which is different than what happened in Odyssey. In Odyssey, there's a definitive Japanese version of the song as well. There might still be. It's just in the trailer they put out, she was singing in English. And, we actually didn't really get that much, Like what we got was kind of stuff we probably could have filled in on our own. But again, it was only 15 minutes. It's really more about, this really felt like more of a reminder of, hey, it's still coming out. Also, there's an amiibo.
Yeah.
That honestly looks kind of nice.
No, I mean, I guess you kind of felt like maybe for any of the characters would get a kind of another pass on that front. DK would make sense considering he's been redesigned, and with this game coming out, that makes a certain amount of sense. But yeah, I think obviously it's 4 weeks away from the game coming out now, so I think it's a tiny bit closer than that Mario Kart World Direct was when that was timed before the Switch 2 launch and the game with it. But it probably is a little bit more necessary, I'd say, just because it's less of a known quantity. Even though, like you said, I don't know whether what was shown here would particularly it was a vast advancement down the field of information. Based on what was in the treehouse. I mean, even the Pauline thing was kind of revealed by accident, not during the treehouse or anything, but I think it was the artwork of DK kind of slamming into the ground with Pauline on his shoulder was shown at some point by one of the Nintendo regions or something, before it should have been, so people already knew she was in it somehow. I mean, we wouldn't necessarily know exactly how at that point, I guess, but so yeah, you could argue how many revelations there are here is not necessarily that many, but kind of in the aftermath of the Switch 2 launch, everybody play Mario Kart and all that. This is the next big game. This is the kind of slot that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe filled in the, launch kind of window calendar. When the original Switch came out, it's important, to kind of have another kind of big game and have it be some kind of success. Just to remind people, that it exists, that it's coming out at that time. And then also, offer some glimpses that are enticing without giving away the whole store, right? Because presumably, if you want this to make a favourable kind of impression and impact when people do play it, there's going to have to be a substantial feeling of discovery and all that kind of thing at that time. So you can't give away too much. I will say, I thought the DK artist thing with the sculpture and all that was kind of interesting. It feels like, is that something that perhaps could have been in with Welcome Tour or something like that? It feels like it's a bit of an odd home for this.
It's almost too big for Welcome Tour. All the things in Welcome Tour are very, very, very small.
They would have had to charge $30 for it.
No, it would have felt out of proportion with everything else. It'd be like building a giant apartment building in the middle of a neighborhood. You'd be like, what the fuck's that there?
People gotta need a place to live, James.
live somewhere else. It's not my problem.
People need to express their creativity through weird fake sculpture thing.
Through drawing penises, 3-dimensional penises using the Switch 2. Like
Always.
how many seconds from release until that happens? I'm thinking 5. I'm thinking the biggest barrier to it being a thing is there's a mandatory scene you have to watch before you can get to the drawing mode. Otherwise, there will be people who get this game on launch, immediately fire up GameChat, and then like time to Wang is going to be the new speedrun category. Which I'm fine. That's fine. You know what? That's fine. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'm sure that a lot of people were expecting a June Direct to kind of give some background on, like, okay, what's going to be on Switch the rest of the year and when. But this current version of Nintendo loves to swerve, so they announced this Direct via Nintendo Today, which Guillaume said last week that it was going to be the last time he uninstalled it. He didn't say it was going to be the last time he installed it, so I presume that means you're just keeping it forever.
Right. No, it's good for good.
You know what I remembered? Guillaume, it's so harmless, Guillaume. It's your friend. It just sits there and gives you no information.
It's your friend. Today. No, occasionally, like once a week, it gives you some kind of information that you can get elsewhere in 5 minutes.
Okay, but like like last week you asked me like, where are you going to get your news? And you thought that was a good gotcha. Must I remind you that there is a news app on the Switch 2 itself? I can just go in there and see all I need to know about the Switch 2.
But see, I don't carry my Switch 2 around.
That's exactly it. You don't carry your Switch 2 around with you.
What if I don't get the update on today's Animal Crossing birthday? It's Sally.
What do you think? We're talking about a portable system here, Guillaume? Come on.
Do you know what Sally's catchphrase is, Guillaume? You don't know that on Switch 2. I know it. It's nutmeg. Her catchphrase is nutmeg. She's a brown squirrel. 89% of people thought this was cute. I'm going to go ahead and mark it useful because I like to fuck with the stats on this.
See, they've really filtered out all that cruft on the Switch 2 news app, and you just get the good stuff. Like, see what festivities have been added for the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Super Mario Party Jamboree. Now that's news.
Boring.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the algorithm is going to start giving James.
What about 1983 Game & Watch gameplay video Donkey Kong 2?
Those are fantastic. I love them. I get a kick out of them.
I love that it's like a hand model too.
I know, right? They're very manicured, thumbs and fingers. But I think those are hilarious because I remember when those things were actually out and available.
They're terrible.
They're terrible. At the time, I thought they were amazing, but they're terrible. So, but I get a kick out of the stuff that Nintendo resurrects in this app. It's just nobody. The thing is, nobody on YouTube is even taking videos of that stuff. But Nintendo feels Nintendo, and the people on YouTube, of course, you have people that are insane retro fans and probably have every single one of these LCD Game & Watch things, and you don't even see it on there. I mean, maybe there's somebody out there with a channel. I'm sure there is, but I just find it hilarious that this is the kind of stuff that Nintendo brings to the forefront. It's great.
My YouTube channel, Game & Watch Every Day, where it's 1 5-minute video of Game -- Watch every day.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many Game & Watches out there.
I didn't say it's a different game. I just said it's a different video.
It's like, oh man, yeah.
I mean, like there's more than 100. Like there are a lot actually, aren't there?
I don't know about that.
There are a decent number.
There's probably a decent number.
Yeah.
I just like, okay, how are we going to film a 2-screen device, but also show the hands, because Nintendo's still in that fucked up Wii era where it's like, if you want to shoot video of our game, you have to show your hands too.
Okay, 60. There were 60 official Game & Watch handheld electronic games. That's fewer than I thought.
Let's say my YouTube channel, Game & Watch Every Day. I was trying to come up with a really inappropriate name for the channel.
So you're going to have, basically you're going to see the same games like 6 times. You're just going to rerun the video 6 times. in a year.
Yeah, well, no. So what I'd do is I would only run Monday through Friday. Like the weekends me time. And I would shoot a 20-minute video, but I would cut that into 4 parts. And then I would release one part. I'd have 5 games going at once, and I would release one part a day. And so, like, on Monday, you would get Game & Watch Ball for 6 weeks. You get a 5-minute video Game & Watch Ball every Monday. It's Game & Watch. It's Ball Mondays is what we're going to call it. We're going to call it Ball Mondays. It's going to take off. Donkey Kong 2 Tuesday. I think I'm going to call the channel Game & Watch from the Corner. There you go. I got something crass in. We did it. This is a 20 million subscriber YouTube channel. Absolutely. I mean, easily. I'm living the high life. John, thank you for this idea. I will give you I will provide exactly 0% of the revenue that it generates to you.
Hey, I just asked for royalties. I'm making a formal request right here. This is a formal verbal request. You will hear from my attorneys. Attorneys.
I will think about you when I am on spring break on South Padre Island.
Saying that's the wall?
That's the wall. Just screaming. The hotel's still there, John.
The wall,
I can
brother.
still scream at it.
He's going to choke slam you.
He's going to choke slam him off the building.
He's going to choke slam him off the building. Oh, boy. Yeah.
I could probably hire everybody in that segment to come back and do it if I had that kind of money.
I apologize for starting this tangent into a nitro episode, but yes. But let's get back on track. I'm trying to bring it back on track.
What is track? What is track?
What is
John,
track?
We're talking about
Game & Watch.
Talking about a YouTube channel that we're going to create.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about Donkey Kong Bananza. And now we're talking about Game & Watch.
Now we're talking about Donkey Kong 2 on the Game & Watch.
Oh, boy.
It's related. We told you Mario's the bad guy, and the story of Donkey Kong 2 is Mario's the bad guy. Mm-hmm. And DK Jr. has to rescue Donkey Kong. See?
Yeah, that's
it's
the thing.
All connected.
Mario's had a pretty checkered past. I feel like, there's a little bit of revisionist history with Mario because that guy was, he was a captor,
History's written by the winners, John.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess.
History's written by the man who got the movie. Mm-hmm. DK hasn't gotten a movie. DK got a Soupy Sales cartoon series. God. And also a really, really bad French CG cartoon series, which I definitely do not encourage you go watch.
Yeah, I think in Saturday Supercade, I don't think he said anything other than his name. Like, he actually didn't have any lines other than Donkey Kong. Like, that's all that guy would ever say.
I think he made some noises, too.
Yeah, well, yeah, he would make some ape noises, for sure.
But,
but I just don't really understand how they took his name to all of a sudden be kind of like a... I don't know, an exclamation, or a declarative term.
There's a series that you might not have heard of. It's pretty no name, but I think it's important here. It's called Pokemon.
Yeah.
You may have heard of it, where the only thing Pokemon know how to say is their own name.
This is true. So I guess he was the progenitor of that.
The progenitor?
Yes.
Yeah. Or DK is a Pokemon, which would explain a lot, to be honest.
It would, actually. That's a pretty good conspiracy theory there.
There we go.
Was DK the first Pokemon?
Go back. I'm going to start up my alternate game theorist YouTube channel. Yeah. Dumb game theorist. So the smartest one of the two, because the real one is very stupid. And just start putting ridiculous shit like that up. It's going to be alongside my Game & Watch from the Corner.
Yeah.
Two great YouTube channels. I'm gonna film the entire episode now because I'm gonna have all the money. Rich, I'll be so wealthy.
Yeah,
so wealthy.
Royalties coming my way. It's gonna be sweet. Sitting back.
0% royalties.
At the end of the day, I'm an idea guy, James.
We will sign a contract that grants you the exclusive right to 0% royalties. Congratulations on your
I'm bullish on
your windfall. You're bullish. You could sell the rights to your no money. God. I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about around Bananza? Like I said, the amiibo's cute.
Sure.
I don't know.
Go on.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I would say it's probably broadly mission accomplished. You know, like I think they probably got what they needed to do done in this direct, and you know, I doubt there'd be necessarily like huge kind of bits of tranches of information left to release about it. Like I said, you got to hold back a certain amount, but I think there are going to be like demo, you know, kind of installations around in stores and stuff in the US and probably elsewhere as well. So, you know, I would have thought it's probably as much as anything kind of the beginning of, you know, having to hit the marketing for this pretty hard, because I don't think it sells itself to the same extent as Mario Kart World does. I mean, John already kind of alluded to it with the anecdote about the text and all. I was like, oh, this is like, you know, kind of like Mario Odyssey. I mean, you know, it would have been an interesting branding exercise actually if they had just had it be like a, you know, Donkey Kong's Odyssey or something, where it's like let's make an overt allusion to that rather than
piggybacking.
Kind of a way of trying to confer some of that kind of Mario commercial power without actually having it, you know, be branded as a Mario game. Obviously that being in, you know, a bit oblique in that way would still have its limitations, but maybe it could have done some of the job for you, but as it is, yeah, I mean, Bananza, it's a solid pun, I guess, you got to give it that. But they'll have to, you know, keep with you know, the advertising and the demos and all that, really trying to work it extremely hard of like, yeah, this is the next big Switch 2 game. You need to try it. You need to play it because it's, you know, basically the next big thing from Nintendo. Obviously, that is one area in which they're, you know, reticence to like talk about who specifically makes their games might actually hurt them a bit, you know, in terms of it might make it a little bit harder to scream from the rooftops if indeed this is, you know, in at least in a substantial part the work of, you know, people who've worked on the 3D Mario games in the past. It might make it harder for them to do that because of this sort of blanket policy of like, oh no, well they're all made by Nintendo, you know, that sort of attitude that they seem to have lately, which, you know, like I guess it can make sense as a policy overall, but it might not be that helpful for in a particular case like this.
To not be completely a grump about this game, I did enjoy what I saw of the combat and the moving around. Like, it seems very momentum based, which you know, is very a very Donkey Kong thing now at this point. But also, like, you can just like roll into the enemy, immediately punch them, and like maybe like you threw a piece of rock at them from far away just earlier, and like it seems to all hit at the same time. That looks like it could be very satisfying, actually, and kind of. It's probably not going to end up like that, but it kind of reminded me a bit of a game I really loved on the GameCube, Hulk Ultimate Destruction. But
yeah,
like thinking about that just makes me now wish that we could see like Donkey Kong just like grab a helicopter and throw it at another helicopter in midair.
Well,
you know.
Well, who says we can't? Remember, the villains of this game are the industrial complex. A giant mining company and its executives. Who says they won't have helicopters you can throw at the bourgeoisie?
True. And the Hulk Ultimate Destruction had another thing in common, I guess, with this game. It had, you know, kind of a skill tree that you would level up, and it would, you know, escalate what you could do. Like, you didn't start out being able to throw helicopters at each other. You had to work your way there. First, you rip a tank in two to fashion yourself a pair of boxing gloves, and then, you know, like, you just, you go from there. So I'm hoping, like, they've revealed that this has a skill tree kind of like thing where you'll be able to choose to maybe give yourself more health, or you'll, you know, maybe like improve your echolocation so it works from further away. A lot of strong reactions on the Discord about that. Like, some people really don't like skill trees in games that are not RPGs. In the end, like, everyone settled on agreed that maybe like it depends on the execution, so I guess we'll see about that. I'm already not a big fan personally of being able or having to upgrade the echolocation. Like if you're giving me a skill that makes it easier to find doodads, don't make me work to make it effective, because then you're still wasting my time. But
yeah, I know what you mean.
That's just my opinion.
I know what you mean. I wouldn't say I had like a strong prejudice in one way or another with this. I think clearly, these things come down to execution and balancing. But I do wonder about that stuff like that in these sorts of experiences where you tend, again, if you're thinking about it from the perspective of like the Mario pedigree or whatever, you tend to think about those as being more crafted experiences, what I mean? Where it's like, okay, no, it's supposed to be, they know precisely what the character can and can't do at that moment, pretty much, but some variations in something in terms of, especially like with 2D Mario games, whether you've got, a particular form, Tanuki suit or where the cape in Super Mario World or whatever, but, that they know what you can do and everything is crafted around that specifically, very carefully, and that, that the challenges and the content is all kind of crafted in accordance with that in a way that feels satisfying. And then if it's maybe their echolocation really still sucks and maybe it doesn't, or maybe their health is really big, or maybe it's not. Like, you wonder how much that kind of fuzzes up, kind of muddies the water for balancing things and crafted things. And so, I have some trepidation with that. I also wonder how much of it is just trying, maybe we talked about, there's lots of things to collect, and you go back to Odyssey again, like sometimes it felt like you could kind of like tripping over moons or whatever. And then it's okay, well, yeah, it gives you flexibility about how many you need to progress or whatever. But maybe some of it is trying to answer the question of like, can we make these things feel like they give you something on a more granular level? Right. Because you probably even had it a bit with Mario Kart World, right? Of like, okay, there's these like Peach medallions and the P missions, but like, what do they do? Like, what do they get for you? And again, they're meant to be just fun to collect and fun to complete by themselves, right? Like, that's its own reward. But I don't doubt if there was some weird thing where it's like, I don't know, maybe there was some like separate mode where how many Peach medallions you had led to you being able to like buy better kart parts or something, if they still had that whole thing in it from the previous games. Maybe people would be more compelled to track them all down, and it would be more addictive and more like imperative, and it would actually attract more people into that part of the game. So I don't know how much of it is trying to say, is an incentive for all these various collectibles, like trying to hang them together rather than just the core progression of the game. It's like, you want to keep finding stuff because it's constantly making the character better, and it's going to create this like feedback loop that makes it feel kind of more satisfying and more kind of intense or something, rewarding. I don't know. I definitely, we'll have to. I'm yet to be convinced on that naturally, but I'm not saying it can't end up feeling like a net positive, but you just kind of wonder about what the intentions are.
I kind of view it as just, we need things to do in this game space, and collecting things is a thing you can do in it.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not.
A little bit of padding, basically. Like, collecting is itself kind of padding, and like having you work to gain the skills that you need to finish the game is also a little bit of a form of padding.
Do we think it's worth $70? Do you think that's to justify the price tag?
I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
I haven't played it.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to see for reviews on that one, really. I mean, I think theoretically it could well be, and I don't think that necessarily depends on an hour count on the issue of padding. If it's rip roaring, relatively brief game, but it's just like while it lasts, it's great, it's fresh. with some of these elements like the destructible environments and what DK can do physically being kind of quite different from other 3D platformers that Nintendo's put out. Like, it feels novel and, you're just seeing a bunch of cool, spectacular stuff, set pieces or whatever. At the end of it, it feels like, it could well be worth the $70, but I don't think you could just tell that from here. It really is one of those things where the proof's got to be in the pudding.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, I'm eager to play it, but I will pay the money because I want to play it, but does it justify its price? I don't know what that looks like, to be honest, until I expect it to be very good. And I expect to have a good time, and I expect to think about the fact it cost me $70 precisely once.
Yeah,
when I buy it.
I don't know. I feel like that's sort of it's a little bit splitting hairs. Like, at $60, this would be a steal, but at $70, it's a ripoff.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, the inflation has hit everyone, except for a long time electronics. But now that's changing.
Well, it had hit those companies. Like, ultimately, they were having to pay their associates more. They had just been eating that cost.
Sure.
And Nintendo's using the console generation to reset that equation.
But I just mean from a consumer of video games standpoint, it does make you think twice about getting a game new. Like, you might want to wait for a sale, even if it's a Nintendo game. Like, they regularly eventually go, at least a 30% sale, or you can get them used. But I guess this is a good moment to maybe remind people that maybe your local library has some video games for you to check out. So that's my recommendation. Check, like, if games are so expensive right now and you don't plan on buying as many, check out your local library. You might be surprised. I don't know. Sorry.
All right, ready to move?
Two PSA.
A little bit, like.
Also,
not,
grab a
not
book.
all the way.
Read,
No,
for
fuck
God's
that.
sake.
Fuck that.
Also, go outside, touch grass, you losers.
No. Fuck. Stop trying to scare away our listeners. Stay at home. Listen to us on loop. We love you. That's what matters. It's safe here.
Stay fearful of the outside. Just listen to us.
Just listen to RFN on loop for the rest of your life, safely ensconced in your home. It will be the gift that keeps on giving.
Bunker mentality, people.
It's not that makes it sound bad. It's cozy living for the modern era.
Sounds safe
please.
to me.
It's marketing terminology. Bunker implies bad. Bunker implies calamity. Bunker implies bad outside.
I don't know, man. Have you watched the news?
No, I haven't.
Great. Smart man.
Actually, what are you referring to? Because I haven't seen any of this on my Switch 2
I don't know.
news app.
It could be.
Well, if you had my Nintendo or Nintendo today, if you had Nintendo today, you would have seen the news. And the news being that it's some fucking Animal Crossing character's birthday. I can't remember who it was. And
boy,
it's good to know. I just listen to RFN all the time. RFN 24/7, 365, and tell your marketing friends that you do. Just let them know.
Tell Paul.
Man. That's right. Tell Paul to give us money. This is an important, like, you feeling comfortable, safe inside of your four square walls. I mean, that's not really that important. You making sure you're doing your part to ensure that we get to not have to finance our future on Game & Watch in the corner. A+. Great. Love that. Love that for all of us. Mostly me, less so you. So yeah, give Paul a call and tell him to book us some work. But move on to new business. We'll do my new business, and I think maybe we'll take a break there because that'll be about an hour. So I'll try to move through it in relatively brisk order. I spoke about it very, very briefly last week. I have been playing Fantasy Life I, the Girl Who Steals Time, And I am now like 30-something hours into it. I was like 2-something hours into it last week. And if you have listened to this show a long time, you can probably already surmise things about what this game is if I'm already that far into it. It's a game where I can just get lost doing chores. This is a Xenoblade X problem. Now, I played the first Fantasy Life on 3DS. I enjoyed it a lot. I did not play Fantasy Life mobile game because people hated it. Fantasy Life 2. So, this game got good reviews, so I've picked it up. And last week I talked a little bit about fishing, because that was all I had at the time. I hadn't really expanded my repertoire of classes very much. I've got about 9 classes now, some of which I've spent a lot of time in, some of which I've just used intermittently. But they're pretty easy to level up, so that's actually not so bad. So basically what you get in this game is I mentioned it last week. There are 3 categories of jobs. There are combat jobs, there are gathering jobs, and then there are crafting jobs. Combat jobs are exactly what they sound like. You go out in the field and you fight enemies. You start the game in a combat job. It's basically a guy with a stick. And as you move on, you can gain additional strength. There are magic users, there are physical attackers, big sword, there are people who use shield and sword. And then there is an archer. Hunter is what they call it, I believe. So I only have mercenary, which is the two-handed broadsword character. But I have leveled it up a lot because I do a lot of combat. I have most of I think I might have all the harvesting roles now. So that is a mining role, a fishing role, a farming role, and there's one other one. I can't remember what it is. And then the crafting ones basically take the material you find from enemies or in your gathering and build stuff. So there's like a blacksmith, there is a seamstress, there is a chef, and there's one more I'm blanking on right now. But essentially, toolmaker. Toolmaker? No, woodworker. That's it. And as you build things, as you build things, you level up your individual, or as you do things in that role. It may be fighting enemies, it may be building things, it may be harvesting apples from a tree. You gain experience, and you can level up in the individualized roles your character can occupy at any given moment. And if you encounter something in the wilderness that is meant for use for a job you are not currently in, your character will just automatically jump between jobs, and you can do it in the field whenever you want. The rest of your party, which is AI controlled, cannot change jobs. They have one job, and that is their job. So building a party around what you're doing already is pretty useful. But all the AI characters are characters you've rescued who had been turned into items like it's Beauty and the fucking Beast, and then a statue turned them back into people, and they join your party. And they also are in one of the classes that I mentioned above. So your collectors are fishermen, woodcutters, miners, and I want to say there's something else. Likewise, with your crafters, there's a handful of those, and then your combat units, there's a handful of them as well. So I have been trying to level up my crafting so I have access to like a better fishing rod so that I can catch better fish. And presumably that will unlock some other thing. I have been ignoring the story wildly, just wandering around doing shit like that. I picked up the miner class at I was already like level 40 in combat. And I had a really, really good mine that an enemy dropped. It was did a tremendous amount of damage. A hammer, not a mine. That an enemy dropped. And then I was in a dungeon on a mission with another party member in my party who was a miner who had been leveling up a lot because he's in the party with me. And I just broke open one of these mining geode spots with this level 1 miner and gained 21 levels in one shot. Just absolutely poured experience down on me. Yeah. So, that's the kind of stuff that the game has you doing on a general basis. You go into dungeons or you wander around these little islands to collect material. You then return to a crafting space and you turn that material into a thing. Or you fight enemies to explore more. There are a bunch of islands in the past, because this is the girl who steals time. You start the game in the present, and you are in the ruins of this civilization you meet when you go to the past. At some point, you gain the ability to jump between the past and the future, but also this out-of-time area that they haven't really explained its connection to the plot. So I mentioned that Hino, the guy who runs Level 5, decided he wanted this game to be open world because he didn't feel like it had anything going for it, or he felt like it was missing something, and he just decided, according to him, like 4 months before release. Do I believe that? No, not possible. But that's what he said. And it's clear that someone had played a good amount of Breath of the Wild, because the Breath of the Wild inspiration in this game's open world is very obvious. Like I said, at some point you gain the ability to go from the past to the future and back. But there's this third option, like Gigantia or something like that, that also exists in that ecosystem, that it's not clear what time it takes place in. There are very few humans in it. It's mostly populated by sentient monsters who will talk to you, and treasure chests that run away from you. And it's a massive explorable area with lots of biomes in it. And in them, to unlock the ability to see on the map, you climb a tower. Actually, you don't have to climb a tower in this game because it's an isometric game. You walk up to a tower and interact with it, and a giant eye, like it's fucking cartoon Sauron, turns and looks at you and tells you how excited they are to work with you. And then they unlock part of the map. Their section of the map. That seems fairly coincidental. Lots of, lots of open world games have that kind of like interact with tower, get map. But how many of them? So I mentioned that you rescue people who have been turned into objects. How many of these open world games that have what I just spoke about also have a series of, I mean, the only word, I think they actually call them shrines of light, that are hidden throughout the overland that glow blue, and when you enter them, you are confronted with a puzzle or a challenge that tests your skills, or a combat zone. And when you complete that trial, and they are called trials, it stops glowing blue, and you get a thing from someone who's been trapped inside it for a long time. It's like, boy, Breath of the Wild iconography here is very, very thick. But there's some really dumb shit in here. So, like I mentioned that, I started mining late, and I kind of lost the plot on that story, so I'll go back to it. Enemies drop items a lot. They drop, and when I say enemies, I also mean the things that you chop, the trees you chop down will sometimes drop axes, which is fucked up. Or a geode might drop a hammer or whatever. Like sometimes items just drop that don't seem related. And I had like a gold blacksmith, a gold mining, I think it's a mining hammer. No, my pickaxe, gold pickaxe that an enemy had dropped. And I was level 1 miner, and I just used it to break like a level 25 or a level 30 gold geode. Yes, the gold mines are level numbered. So are the crops you grow in your own garden. So I had to take out a level 30 pumpkin because it had gotten ripe and didn't want to leave the dirt, I guess. I don't know. But essentially, like, I was able to just break that geode and gain like 22 levels. Because the game is just completely fucked up if you just know how to break its balance. But, yeah, I got all the way into making stuff. I got into rebuilding the island that you live on in the present. It is very Animal Crossing-like, except you can arrange where the villagers live. But you can redraw the map. You can move where the water is. You can raise and lower the ground. You can build bridges, all that kind of stuff. And then you can build houses for your villagers that are the people you rescued from being turned into a thing from the not shrines in the not Breath of the Wild. But like I said, it has one major issue, which is in Breath of the Wild, it was very useful to go into first person. Oh, there's also a tablet that you plug into the towers called a weird pad. It's literally just a tablet. Like, they're not hiding it. Because this game is isometric, you can't tilt the camera up. So you can't, like, you go to the tallest point in the land and you're like, okay, I'm going to use it to spot the next tower. And the game's like, what if you just looked at your feet? What if that's all? What if you can't tilt the camera up enough to see the tower? So, I mean, that'd be really useful. But I guess I just don't get to. And I just have to go back to my quest list and look at whatever it is I need to do when I deal with that thing. Because a lot of times they'll give you some kind of quest that goes with it. I don't know. This talk about this game makes me sound like a lunatic. It's just like a million systems built on top of each other, and I'm rambling, and it's weird, and it's that kind of feels appropriate for the game, because when I play it, I don't really worry that much about the main plot. There's a girl, she has some kind of time-sealing power. There's a dragon that's made of bones that you fly around on. He can travel through time. Sometimes you're in the past. Sometimes you're in the present, turning dishware back into humans. Sometimes you're rebuilding the village you live in the present, which is literally just like Animal Crossing. Put shit on the ground, design your house, give gifts to other villagers. They are called villagers. And then there's a little bit of farming in there too. You can build farming plots to grow vegetables, which I've done a lot of. I've done a lot of vegetable growing. And what purpose do vegetables serve besides cooking? Well, you can sell them and make some money, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. It's a really weird game. And to level up your classes, this is odd. So there is a level you get just for doing the thing that class does. And that's experience. But then there is a tier, I guess is the way of putting it, like a designation that you get from the life master, they call it, which is a crazy name. But the person who is the responsible for giving you the quest that lets you change class, essentially. They evaluate your progress in that class and rank you up to different tiers of that class, like starting with like novice, and then you get to beginner, and you get to like adept, and you just work your way up until you're whatever's past expert. I haven't got past expert yet. And that's done by completing quests that they give you when you change levels of it. So not when you level up. That's just from doing the activity. This is when you change your tier. So you get to adept. You get some new gear. You unlock more things you can make, and they give you a million new quests in that for that job. So it'll be like, if it's the blacksmith, it'll be like, okay, here's 25 items you can craft that will contribute to clearing quests. That if you clear enough quests at this level, you get to move up to the next level of this job. But that's not the number level. You're getting that just for experience. It's very weird. And then there's this big skill tree that every class has that you get points every time you level up that you could put into the skill tree. But if you get way ahead of your tier while you're with your level, you'll end up with a bunch of experience you can't spend because you won't have anything unlocked or anything useful unlocked. Because a lot of these have locks around what tier you are. It's a very frustrating game in that respect. But overall, I'm still having a really good time with it. It's cute. It's colorful. I just enjoy kind of like vegging out and playing it, pun not intended, considering I'm oftentimes growing vegetables. There's all kinds of weird secrets in this game. There was a really long dungeon that I wandered around in. So like, I went to it for a story reason, and they had me leave after a little while. Like, we got about halfway, and they're like, you completed the story. It's time to leave and go back and do something else. I came back later and just kept exploring, chopping down divine trees underground to get good lumber. I don't know. And eventually I hit the end, and there's just a well. And if you interact with the well, it says, I bet you could climb down here. And if you do, there's a completely optional second dungeon that has all kinds of weird shit in it. That's much stronger. That I really enjoyed. It was fun. And like, this is a great game of, I pick up the game and then like 45 minutes vanishes and I accomplished nothing. It's got that Xenoblade X quality to it. And like I said, it is remarkably enjoyable. It is open about stealing elements from other games. Like I said, there's Animal Crossing. There is, well, it used to be called Harvest Moon. Now it's called,
Story of Seasons.
I can't remember what they call that series. Story of Seasons, yeah. There's some of that in there. There's some of, honestly, there's a lot of the Story of Seasons spin-off. I can't remember. Rune Factory. There's some Animal Crossing. It's all here. There's even like a little bit of Atelier series in here. It's a weird product, and there's just so much opportunity to fuck around and do absolutely nothing and accomplish nothing, but you've gained a bunch of levels, so whatever, I guess. I had to go clear out my inventory because it was full of shit that I'd crafted, and I made like 22,000 gold just selling off swords I made to level up. It was so stupid. But yeah, it's fun. I'm having a lot more like, I enjoyed the first Fantasy Life game, but like I'd kind of forgotten. It's been a long time. I'm really enjoying it. It doesn't ask a lot of you. It's very easy, but it's very chill if you want it to be. And so like when I don't want to go deal with the boss or deal with the story, I just don't go there. And I just keep going into caves and harvesting cave trees so that I can make the good lumber and build something else. And I'm enjoying that a lot. I touch the story like once every other day, and I think I'm pretty near the end of it. Because it's not that long, but I actually just don't really care. I do want to know if they're ever going to explain what the open world area that doesn't seem connected to anything at all, like period, in any way, shape, or form. I would love to see them explain what the fuck it is, but I don't get the impression they have any intention of doing that. So it's just gonna live there, I guess. But yeah, I enjoy this game. I know this was incredibly rambly. I'm struggling to string my thoughts together a little bit. One, it's been a super long day. But two, like, this game is just kind of brain off gameplay. I don't think about it that much while I'm playing it. I just kind of veg out and watch the sunset as I just hammer through dumb objective and dumb objective. Now, I do Google a lot of times because it'll be like, you're going to craft this thing, you need random item. And I'm like, where the fuck do I get that? And the game does have an in-game journal that should help you with this, but it's garbage. Rather, I just use the many websites that have documented all of this. It's like, oh, you need that ore? Here's where you can go. Here's the 5 places you can go find it. And I'm like, cool, I'll just warp to there and then walk. Thank you. I don't think it diminishes my enjoyment of the game. I think it greatly enhances it. It takes away a lot of not even busy work. Because, like, you could argue harvesting it's busy work, which, yeah, it is. Like, it takes away the collection busy work, the moving around. Like, you can just stay where you are and do your next crafting job because you already have the material. It's in your inventory. You're good to go. So, yeah. I know this is a lot of things I have said because this game tries to do everything. I think that might be to its detriment a little bit, but in terms of being a good game, I think all the things it's trying to do actually hurts it in terms of being optimized and being, optimized for fun. But I think all the swings it takes and all the stuff it just has in it has its own kind of like, this game is too big for its own good charm that I really enjoy. So yeah, that's Fantasy Life I. It has eaten up a tremendous amount of my time. And I wish I was playing it right now, but I'm not. I'm talking to you, dear listener, because I'm a professional. And yeah, I've probably done mining like 700 times. All the mini games, or at least most of the mini games that you do to mine, have like a secret spot. That's the sweet spot where if you manage to find it before you do the thing, it's more effective. And most of the jobs who have that also have a skill to help you find the spot, so you can find it quickly and start taking advantage of it. It does not apply to any of the berries that are not collected the same way. They're collected differently. I don't know how to describe it. It's weird. Or any of the crafting minigames. The crafting minigames have their own thing where it's like you just basically have 3 things you have to pick from. So you have to like move the cursor, which is your character, to one of 3 stations and then interact them in a different way. So like either a tap fast, tap one time, or hold. And you just get sequences of them. So a lot of times the challenge is it's going to make you go from one end to the other, and you're evaluated on how fast you complete it. And that drives how good the item you get is. So yeah, that's about it. I say that's about it. Like, I haven't been talking for 20 minutes and just rambling and sounding confused and lost. And that's my fault. I should have thought about the fact this game was going to be hard to talk about and made some notes. I apologize. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a really good time. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say on this. And I think we're going to take a break here. And when we come back, we're going to do a little bit more new business. So please stay tuned. we return to you, dear listener, to talk to you about new business. And we already talked about new business a little bit. I rambled at you about weird nonsense shit in fantasy life, and I don't know. But we're going to do some maybe more structured new business, I think. Maybe, hopefully, possibly. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try for that. John has a narrative to tell us, a story, an epic. He has his own odyssey that he wishes to recount for us.
Yeah, this is a story. A story about how I traded in my Nintendo Switches on a PS5 Pro, actually. As the story begins, I of course got a Switch 2 at launch, and I quickly realized, as I suspected, that it would be a straight out replacement for. I had my OG Switch packed away, and so my daily driver was my OLED Switch. So quickly became apparent that this just was a wholesale replacement for the Switch 1. And so I had been considering this because, I have a base PS5, or had a base PS5. And so I thought, well, maybe the move here, because, with the PS5 Pro, I didn't really particularly care too much about a PS5 Pro, but I said, you know what, if I'm going to, I'm sure as heck not paying $700 for it. That is just not happening. However, I'm going to have a whole bunch of consoles around that would be fairly easy to trade in on a PS5 Pro, which is the only way I would ever do this. So I said, all right, this is probably the time to do a big trade in. And Sony also had on their site, Sony had the PS5 Pro on sale for $650, which of course GameStop was matching that, which you'll see retailers often do if a first party sells gives a discount on hardware. You'll see retailers match it, right? So I figured, all right, this was the time. I've traded stuff in at GameStop before. It's fine. Certainly, if you're really looking to min-max how much money you get from an old console, eBay is always the best way to go. But I just wanted these things out of here. I didn't have the time nor the inclination to sell these things on eBay. And coupled with the fact that this was a limited time sale, I figured, all right, this is when we're going to do it. Now, problem number one is that there used to be a GameStop in the city that I live in. It has since closed down. So therefore, the only GameStop...
that's common.
Yep. So the only GameStop for me to go to is there's one an hour north of here and an hour south of here. So I chose to go to the one an hour south of here. There's actually a couple down that way in the same area. Which was interesting because the GameStop I went to was in a mall, which felt very weird, surprisingly weird, because it was very 80s to me. It felt like, I don't know, it's a California mall built in the 80s, so it gave me Back to the Future vibes. It was just very,
very
weird. Were there
kids like skateboarding and being radical?
No, but there were teenagers around and stuff, and even though it was like on a, I forget when I did this. When did I trade it? I think I traded it on I traded it on a weekday because I had to do it. It was because the sale was ending at the end of the week. So I had to do it on a weekday, but still it was really weird being in a mall that was still semi alive. So anyways, that was strange. So I had to pack everything up. It was actually it was pretty intense because I had to pack everything up. So my OG Switch, my OLED Switch, and my PS5, my base PS5, pack that all up. And of course I always keep all the boxes for everything. So I, packed everything up nicely and all that kind of stuff, which by the way, it really doesn't matter. Because they just take it apart anyways and toss the boxes because they repackage them. But I do that anyways, right, just out of force of habit since I have it around. And also when you trade it in, you're like, no, it's in perfect shape. There you go. And they're like, oh, okay. So I take it in there and I said, hey, I just confirmed. I'm like, you still have the PS5 Pros on for $650, right? And they're like, yeah. And so, I told them what consoles I had. I didn't bring them all in because the base PS5, that thing, in the box, that thing is gargantuan. That thing,
huge.
It is huge and heavy, and I was not going to just bring that thing in. sight unseen. So I went back to my car, brought everything in. I actually drove around to an entrance that was closer to where the GameStop was once I figured out where the GameStop was. So I bring everything in. And the trade-in process actually is pretty slick at GameStop now. They have full diagnostic stuff that they can run. The main thing that they do though is they have like a little diagnostic fob that lets them test every single controller for drift, which I thought was pretty clever. So they were tested. Amazingly enough, I mean, not so much on my OLED Switch, but definitely on my OG Switch, none of my Joy-Cons had drift at all. Which they thought was remarkable because they said, every single Joy-Con that comes through here, that thing has drift. My PS5 controller actually had drift, so they docked some money off of that, off the trade-in for that. But the funniest thing though, so what they do now is they have a little counter off to the side with an OLED monitor that's and then they have some kind of almost point of sale software running where it's a touchscreen monitor, so they tap through the whole kind of thing in front of you, and they say, okay, well, this is an OLED Switch. It's in this type of. It's almost like an insurance claim. It feels like, this is an OLED Switch. It's in excellent shape. It comes with an AC adapter, HDMI cable, 2 Joy-Cons, all that kind of stuff. So that way they can, for each thing that's included, that if anything's missing, they can remove that accordingly, whatever the value is. So, but the funniest thing on there was talking about the shape of the console.
Mm-hmm.
And it had, are there any blemishes, cracks, is anything broken? And they have a tile on there for bug infested.
Oh,
so a bug infested tile on there.
gross.
So, yes, and so I said, why do you have a tile on there for that? And they said, well, I said, do people actually bring in consoles that are bug infested? And they said, yes, that happens. And they said, in fact, just a couple of weeks ago, a guy brought in a PS5 and we took it out of the box and it had a maggot on it.
Oh.
And I said, what are you talking about? She said, yes. She said, and they said, look, this thing is bug infested. We can't accept it. And he took his thumb, smushed the maggot, and said, can I trade it in now? And they said, no, get out. They just kicked him out. So that apparently, enough consoles out there, and I can see this. I've actually seen videos. I saw a video, it was on TikTok of a guy that refurbishes consoles, and it was a PlayStation 4 that he had opened up, and he took, and it's like kind of like like a top half and a bottom half, and he takes off the top half, and it's just inside, it's all cockroaches.
Ugh.
It's so nasty, and I guess they're attracted to the heat of the console, but it just makes me wonder. I said it really makes me wonder, what do the houses or apartments that these people use these consoles in, what do they look like? That's just terrible. So that's a real thing. So they are, it's apparently enough of a problem that GameStop has a bug infestation tile on its trade-in software. So that was, I can't say it's surprising, but it's just, it's disappointing. And also too, it's like, they take your ID, and they said that there was actually, when I walked in, there was a guy trading in an OLED, Switch. It actually takes a while to kind of go through that whole process with a Switch, because they have to test not only the core console, but then they have to, get everything out. They have to get out the dock and test the Joy-Cons individually and make sure that the dock itself works hooked up to a television. So it's a little bit of a lengthy process. It's easier with the PS5 than it is with the Switch. But yeah, so they did everything they needed to do. I was in there probably for about an hour and a half, I would say. It took quite a while. Just because, they still have to kind of serve some customers. A second girl came in and she started to actually help with some other customers. But yeah, it was a pretty lengthy process. But overall, I think the old Switch got me about 85. I think the OLED Switch got me about maybe 1. And of course, I'm a GameStop Pro member, so you get like 10% extra, right? So I think the OG Switch got me, I think 85, and then I think it was 110 or something for the OLED Switch. And then the PS5, I think it got me like 286 or something like that, and then they took maybe $20 off for what they considered to be a defective controller. But yeah, so overall, off of the $650 for, and actually with that, it had, you get the $5 a month discount as a Pro member, and there was some other $5 discount. I don't even know what it was. But, the PS5 Pro wound up starting at $639.99, and then I got $449 off of that. So I wound up out of pocket $205 for a PS5 Pro. And I get those consoles. Yeah, it's not bad. And I get those consoles out of there, which really was one of the main things I said, I just need these things out of here. I don't want 3 extra consoles just sitting around, because I like all these old consoles from back in the day that I still have. It's like, they get harder to get rid of the older they get, if you don't want to if you don't want to hold on to them, right? So
that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, not too bad. Overall a pretty good experience. I mean, GameStop knows what they're doing. I got a kick out of it though, man. I don't know how anybody can handle. I don't know how any adult can handle working in a store like that, because it's just constant. It's just constant teenagers. In that hour and a half, the number of times I heard the word "bro" from people that came in there, I just like, get me out of here. I couldn't wait to like.
Bro, what's wrong with that?
I just couldn't wait to get out into the adult world where that word is not used. I felt like I was inside of Twitch. Like, just back me out of there. So, but yeah,
I'm trapped inside.
It's like the worst fucking Tron sequel.
It's the worst. And just, man. Yeah.
Does that mean that the don't tase me bro guy from like 20 years ago was not an adult?
No.
I mean,
yeah.
No, he wasn't.
No.
I think he might have been a college. He's definitely an adult now.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many Funko Pops? All of them?
Funko Pops, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, they do. That's the thing. It's like, I think they have a pretty hard time selling games now. So like all of that stuff, that like GameStops are basically like just Funko Pop like warehouses now.
Yeah,
pretty much.
They got to go somewhere.
Yeah, they got to go somewhere.
There is an alarm. The one near me I went into just recently because I was like on a walk during work hours. I just wanted to poke my head in and see what was going on there. I will call this a cursed GameStop, more so than the average one, on account of the burning during a riot thing that happened. That wasn't great. They just rebuilt it exactly in the same spot, because it's right on campus. So if you imagine how bro-y the one at the mall was, imagine one right on in the middle of a university campus with like 30,000 students.
Yeah,
but they just have a wall that's just like the Funko wall of shame. It's just like, these are the ones that are on sale.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean the ones that they just want out of this fucking store.
Yeah.
And it's just like shit that nobody's ever bought. It's the best. Whenever I stick my head in there, I just go see like what's on the wall of shame. What lives in this store for far longer than anyone involved wanted to be the case.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes they'll have the ones like, buy 2, get 4 free. And I'm like, what? What? Excuse me?
Yeah.
This is like that when they were trying to get rid of the Animal Crossing amiibo, and it was like, I did the buy 3, get 1 free, and I said, well, I don't really need another one. They told me I had to take one. Like, no, take one. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I guess it's like another one of these.
Yeah. It's, I swear it's like that. It's like that. Those GameStops are like the last stop before the landfill, you know? But yeah, as I was saying,
many ways.
The guy that was in there when I rolled up, he was trading an OLED Switch, and she said, well, she asked me for ID, because actually it's funny, they take your ID and a thumbprint, whatever. I don't know where that thumbprint goes, but I said, do people usually like not have IDs? And she's like, well, actually, that guy that was here before you trying to trade in the OLED Switch, he didn't have an ID, so we had to reject him. And she's like, yeah, that, and so of course, I mean, that's a classic way people break into houses, steal consoles, and then try to trade them in at GameStop for cash, right? I mean, that's like a known thing. But she said, yeah, that guy's, OLED Switch, like, looked a lot like yours, like, pretty much brand new. So he didn't have ID, so he got shot down. But, it's always just interesting. I'm totally cool going into a GameStop about once a decade while they still exist.
That's very rare.
Yeah. Just not a whole lot there. It's just like GameStops just really haven't changed. I mean, there's only so many ways you can sell video games. I mean, yeah.
Well, especially as people are moving more and more towards digital purchases. Like, it really cuts them out of the equation.
Yeah, and she asked me, it's funny you should say that, because she asked me, she said, hey, do you want to buy the hard drive or buy the disk drive? And I said, nah, if I need it, I'll get it later. But yeah, I mean, I won't miss it. And I mean, as far as the PS5 Pro goes, it's nice. I mean, I think the thing is, the big difference for me is the larger hard drive. It has a 2 terabyte drive on it, which is really, really nice. Because it was just funny because I pretty much reinstalled everything on there, that I had on my base PS5, which I was always fridge cleaning, because the most annoying game for that was Gran Turismo 7, because Gran Turismo 7 takes up 120 gigs on your hard drive.
Yeah.
But it needs 20 gigs to download the update. So what I had to do is I had to delete another game and then have Gran Turismo 7 download its update, because it needed 140 gigs and I only had maybe 15 gigs left or something, right? Because I was installing stuff right up to the very limit. So I'd have to uninstall this other game over here, let Gran Turismo 7 do its update, and then go back and reinstall that game when it freed up the hard drive space for after it was done its update. It was so ridiculous. So I don't have to do that anymore. I mean, everything that was on my base PS5 took up maybe a quarter of this hard drive. So I still have about 1.4 terabytes left. And that's
nice.
With everything installed. So that's really sweet. In terms of performance, I'm sure it varies by game. I haven't seen anything. I haven't played Gran Turismo on it yet, but apparently it's really good. But the funniest game was FC25, where on the PS5 Pro, the menus actually feel semi-functional as opposed to PS5, where they're absolutely terrible and super clunky. And it just goes to show how poorly that game is optimized. So that's, FC25 still continues to disappoint to this very day. It's like, when you put it on better hardware, it actually disappoints you even more, because you're like, oh wow, yeah, that game is really, really poorly optimized. And so you put it on better hardware, it plays better. That's it.
I mean, the PS5 is such old hardware, though. It's not. It's not fair.
Yeah.
You're not being fair to such an ancient system that came out. Let me check my watch. 4 years ago.
Yeah, it does. That's the thing. But you know what it reminds me of is those old DOS games. Where if you put them on a newer computer, they ran too fast because they would just they would just scale straight up with the speed of the processor. That's what it reminds me of. That's FC25. It's one of those types of games where processor is faster, game is faster.
There's some old non-DOS pre-DOS computers where the issue was so pronounced that it would actually beat the input buffer for the game. Mm-hmm. So even if you did react fast enough to whatever the frame rate the game was now running at, it couldn't process your inputs fast enough and you still lost.
So good.
So the game just basically became unplayable on the next iteration of whatever that hardware was.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
So, but
bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, EA is. So they're, they never left. But yeah, I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's a good upgrade. I don't have any regrets, getting it, especially for $205. So, but, yeah, just interesting too. So, just kind of having to drive an hour to do this. It just made it feel more high stakes than it really had to be, Because if anything went wrong, or if anything was unexpected, I'd have to drive back an hour and figure out what to do next. And also I was running up against the end of that Sony sale, so I was like, crap, like, this can't wait for the weekend. Like, I have to do this because I knew the sale was ending on a Friday. Probably. That's the thing. GameStop, very, very cagey. Oh, man. So I called the GameStop north of me, and the guy was like, guy picks up the phone. I'm like, hey, I was just wondering, so, because I wanted to make sure I didn't want to drive an hour somewhere and then they're out of PS5 Pros. Because if you look on the website, some of them said, like the one that was north of me, it said, 2 left, going to be out of stock soon. Okay, which makes sense because it's on sale for $650, right? And so I was like, well, crap, I don't want to drive all the way up there, drive an hour, and then have the guy say, sorry, we just sold our last PS5 Pro. So I figured, hey, I would call the helpful guy at GameStop because surely he'll be able to say, oh, yeah, no problem. We have a couple in stock. I don't think anybody's going to take them. So I call him up and he says, I'm sorry, we are not authorized to speak upon the number of consoles that we have available for any given system. Like he's in the CIA or something.
I can't tell you about my secret consoles.
Yeah. Like, and I'm just like, I didn't even flinch. I was just like, okay. All I asked was, hey, I see that you have only a couple of PS5 Pros in stock. Do you think anybody's going to come in and get those in the next hour or so? Which the answer to that would probably 9 times out of 10. He could have just said, I can't guarantee anything, but chances are, like, no one's going to come and get them, right? But instead he gives me this super politically correct answer. I don't even know if that's the term to apply to it, but yes, I'm sorry that I cannot divulge any information about the number of consoles that we have in stock for any given system. I'm like, okay.
Well, maybe you just sound like you're, working at another retailer trying to gain super secret data.
I just sound like a console narc, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, console numbers narc.
Okay, Special Agent, you passed the phone test.
I know,
you did it.
Right? I was like, man, you take your job way too seriously. And so that, I crossed him off the list. I'm like, I'm not going to that GameStop. I'm not giving that guy my business.
You got us.
What an idiot.
This was internal security evaluating your ability to respond to a phishing attack.
Right? Yeah. I thought that was so hilarious. He took it so seriously. But I mean, he could have just said, yeah, we have a couple in stock, but I doubt they'll sell out. I can't guarantee it, but that would have been the cool thing. But instead he gives me this incredible answer that makes him sound like he's on a military installation.
What if you had told him in response to this, hey, good job. Like, what if you had actually done that? I said, like, hey, good job. This was actually we were actually testing spearfishing, and I'm glad to see that your store passed.
Call it from GameStop Counterintelligence. It's got a ring of authenticity to it, those words together.
Yeah.
It's true. I'm Mike from GameStop Internal Security. Mm-hmm. Just wanted to, good job on that. Hey, I'm in that area. Just out of curiosity, how many do you have? Oh, we've got like 5. Ah, fucko, I don't work for GameStop. I got you. I'm going to call your boss.
Yeah, it was too good. It was too good. He was very matter of fact. I said, yeah, so are they still $50 off? Yep. Okay, thanks.
GameStop Counterintelligence Department might be the name of the episode.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Like, just, yeah. So I said, okay, all right. I'm going south for this one. But, yeah.
Well, that sounds dark. What do you mean?
Yeah, but yeah. So there you go. So, Switch 2, PS5 Pro, all is good.
Congratulations.
That's funny. I pretty much come home and I read an article about how
serious gamer with that lineup.
Yeah, I have been called a serious gamer at various points in my career.
to do serious gaming on it.
Serious gaming, Yeah. There you go.
How serious is your gaming? All right. Greg.
Sure, yeah, that is not terribly much new to comment on. Just been plugging away at Mario Kart. I looked at the sort of Switch 2 tracking of the playtime, and I've hit 30 hours, which, you know, in 2 weeks, it's not a crazy number. Some of that's just, you know, not necessarily having the biggest chunks of time to kind of plug away at it, but still kind of playing the free roam stuff a bit more than I would have thought, because it is nice as that kind of second screen kind of scenario, that part of it. You know, I mean, if you really tried it, I don't know, I've done a limited amount of like the time trials, you know, beating the staff ghosts and stuff. Like, you want to concentrate for that. You want to actually, you know, kind of pay full attention. So, you know, with the free roam, a lot of the time when you're screwing around, you can kind of just easily happen upon things without necessarily having it, giving it the full attention. And then, you know, you might happen upon a challenge, and yeah, that might be a bit trickier, but you know, they only last so many seconds. So it's kind of still at this point for me kind of addictive, you know, finding stuff, solving stuff, moving on. I've started to get a bit, I mean, that's the thing with the P switch thing. I mean, it tracks how many you've done, but I have no idea how many there are. So I think I'm up around about 190, but could there be however many more? No idea. The one thing that is tracked, as we discussed last week, are those question mark block tile things. That, I think there's 150, I want to say, and I'm up over 100. So I found most of them, but there's still quite a few out there. And then you've got the medallions, which I've got 50 of. No idea how many more there are waiting out there. But for now, it still kind of feels like I'm, you know, just stumbling on things. You know, there's still a sufficient density of things that I haven't done or found that's still happening. And so it's still kind of fun, you know, to mess around in it. But yeah, I don't really know how much longer that's going to last. We'll see. But, you know, like I said, it's holding my attention for now. And I unlocked the mirror mode. I think I'd done everything I needed to do to unlock the mirror mode last week. It's just a question of sequencing. It's like, if you think you've probably done enough to unlock it, but it hasn't unlocked, just do the special cup again, and that'll probably do it. And then you get mirror mode, which has a very, very crucial role now in the, you know, the free roaming, or the, you know, the kind of knockout tour stuff, where, you know, now if you're like me and you're in Britain, like the traffic works intuitively, because, you know, the quote unquote right side of the road, it changes in mirror mode. So that's
nice.
It's like easy mode for me, really, honestly. But yeah, other than that, I've played a little bit more of F-Zero GX on GameCube, which, you know, is great to revisit. Broadly similar sentiments to Guillaume in terms of, you know, holds up really well, is really good. Love coming back to it again. Now, one thing sometimes is just playing that, it's just like, good God, how did I cope with this?
Well, yeah, like I was
fast, there's so many cars. Sometimes you're like, I did this on like the higher difficulties, really? I don't know.
Yeah, like last week I had done, you know, the second, I had just unlocked the Diamond Cup, but crucially I had not started it. So that's why maybe I was like, oh, you know, this game is not too bad. Just knock your rival off the course and you're fine. And then I tried playing the Diamond tracks a little bit, and immediately the first one, Trident, is like, well, in order to survive, barely touch the stick. Good luck. It is brutal. You don't even, like, I'm not even trying to race on it. I'm just trying to, like, keep alive. And I often fail. So that's great.
No, it's just so intense. That's the thing. I mean, not that I'd played that many racing games in the 20 odd years since, you know, that really go for that. I mean, there's not that many, is there? Because it's not just an F-Zero thing. The whole, like, futuristic racer genre kind of just went away to a fair degree, you know, in that 20 years. Obviously, you've got stuff like the fast racing games, you know, that you know, have tried to fill that niche a little bit. You know, and there's a new one of those, which, you know, I mean, all the reviews and all that sound pretty interesting, but it's just, yeah, having Mario Kart and F-Zero GX right there. It's not sort of optimal conditions for me making that purchase at this particular time anyway. But yeah, it does kind of just smack it in the face how intense it still feels. And yeah, like I said, I mean, another thing I forgot is the whole weird way that unlocking the story mode missions kind of works with the like buying tickets and stuff, because I may not have had to do that when we did the retroactive on the telethon, when we did X and GX together, because I might just have been, I did replay some story mode stuff, but it probably, it was on the original hardware, the memory card, the save file was still there, so I wouldn't have had to unlock the story chapters. I could just play them, just pick them. But when you're doing it for the first time, it's like, okay, well, no, you've got to buy the chapters in the shop. And, just beating the previous chapter doesn't give you enough tickets to do it. So it's very much trying to get you to trade off between playing story mode and, Grand Prix. I don't know if there's anything else that yields any of those tickets, rather than just like gunning right through it. And the other thing that it does to stop you from gunning right through it is just how difficult it is, as you already mentioned last week. And it's just kind of infamous about that. I managed to do the Samurai Goro Boulder-thon, on like the standard difficulty or whatever. But yeah, I don't know if I'll go terribly much further than that with it.
I actually got to watch Guillaume play a little bit of this using GameChat.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of spoiling my new business, I guess.
Well, no, I'm transitioning, Guillaume. This is a transition. Okay, fine.
Segues are spoilers.
We'll talk about F-Zero GX twice in the year of our Lord 2025 in this episode, if that will make you feel better.
So, I guess it's my new business now.
Well, at least this part, because I know.
That is how I don't have terribly much. I'm quite
okay.
Content
All right, then yeah, okay.
All right, yeah. So you got to watch me, which is not as creepy as it sounds when you say it like this. The way I was going to bring
not at 10 frames a second. No.
No. Leaves a lot to the imagination, doesn't it?
Sometimes that's the good part.
So I told Guillaume at the time it looks like an animated image from around the time like a GIF from around the time this game came out, before you could put full videos on your site. It's like car teleporting up across track. What is happening? Oh, it's really funny in this game.
Yeah. So basically, lately I've just been I don't know. Like, usually I don't like spending on hardware and shit, and I guess I'm feeling like I need some retail therapy, and so I just went and ordered like a cheap-ish camera, and I got it thinking like, yeah, sure, I'll do GameChat thing, the GameChat thing, even though I never play online very much. But I don't know, I just wanted it, and just in case I get into Super Mario Party, or the odds of that are very low, but who knows, maybe Nintendo will have some other cool use for the camera at some point. I don't usually buy hardware and without some sort of killer app that will make me buy it, but I guess I thought GameChat is good enough. So that's enough of a killer app. So I tried using it today. I saw, okay, Johnny's online. He's playing Mario Kart. I want to play Mario Kart. I'm going to try calling him. I created a chat room. I selected him, and he didn't answer. It wasn't clear at first what was happening. I wasn't sure what would happen if someone did answer, but it kind of looked like, oh, you're in the game, you're in the chat now. I was like, okay, like surely it must have, someone picked up at the other end. But no, that's not how it works. Like his screen remained like as if he wasn't online, basically. So anyway, I gave up after a while. Like, I thought maybe he needs some time, but like maybe, yeah, I guess he just didn't want to talk to me. And then I saw Seren was playing some Game Boy games online, so I went and tried with her, and she didn't pick up either. And so then, finally, my savior, I saw James is starting to play Fantasy Life. Okay, I think I've got a good shot here. And so, yeah, I created that chat room, and you answered, Thank you. So now I know what GameChat is like, and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So at first, of course, I could hear you, but I couldn't see you because you don't have a camera.
Yep.
And I couldn't see either what you were playing. So you have to go select that basically every time that you start a game chat room or that you enter one. Like you can have in the system settings, you can tell it like, oh yeah, always mute my mic when I enter a chat room, or don't. But that's the only thing that you can select like that in the settings, and that then you can forget about. I had it set so that, don't mute my mic if I'm entering a chat room. I probably want to talk. But then, like, there's two other options. You can, turn on your camera and then turn on your share your screen, basically. So we did that, and I don't have Fantasy Life. There's no game share here to be had. So I was watching you play your game, and I started playing F-Zero a little bit. Tried the Diamond Cup. Realized how futile that was, trying to play that on a smaller screen than usual while being distracted. And so I just went and finished a much easier cup, like the first one. I could see you try to chop a lot of trees down in a cave.
A lot of trees. I need a lot of wood.
And you were getting some high-quality carrots in a cave again.
Until the carrots attacked me, because that's Fantasy Life.
Right. And eventually radishes were attacking you.
Yeah.
So
radishes are like the evolved versions of carrots. I don't understand this, but okay.
Sure. And yeah, you showed me the skill tree.
And
so we were surprised at how the sound quality was good.
Yeah. So my Switch is not near me. It was very close to the sound bar on my TV, which did its once a month freak out in the middle of the stream, but it just does that sometimes. But he wasn't picking up any of the audio from that, despite the fact that the microphone is basically next to it.
Right.
And I'm probably 12 feet away.
Yeah, and I was, I don't know, probably 10 feet away from my TV from the Switch. The Switch was almost in the path of an oscillating fan, but apparently it was not picking up the wind the air displacement or anything. So you were hearing me fine. I was probably talking at a volume that was annoying for Karen, who was in a different room. But other than that, there was no problem. Like, we could talk as we are talking now. So when you were saying earlier, at the end of your new business, like, oh, I wish I was playing it right now. I wish I didn't have to stop. Basically, my plan, if I had followed up with my new business, I would have said, like, well, maybe there would have been a way. Maybe we don't have to stop playing the games we're playing to record this. We could just do this over game chat. Honestly,
it is, no.
It's no. But honestly, it's not that much worse than any other fucking service that we've been using. Both Discord and Skype.
I think the microphone itself isn't as ideal, so that makes it sound worse.
Probably.
If I was using my headset connected by Bluetooth, it would probably sound fine.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, I went and I had to go and check out the accessibility settings. So specifically the one the speech to text. So it shows you what the whole conversation basically, and it would show you, it would show me, okay, James, Colin, and then it would write pretty much exactly what you were saying, and then if I interjected, like, Guillaume, Colin, and then it would say what I said. It had a little bit of a harder time picking up what I was saying. I don't remember when it thought I said Texas, but it's definitely not what I said. You had seemed to pick up fine. We were surprised to discover that shit was not filtered.
Correct.
So you just it just wrote it on a Nintendo family-friendly console. You know what's happening. I can only assume that they're going to take away GameChat just immediately, imminently, as soon as they realize what they've done. Yeah,
gotta go.
So someone could, say penis on there or something, and you wouldn't want that.
I dropped an F-bomb just to see what it would do, and what it did instead was it just found a different word. Like it didn't do like what Google's text-to-speech does, where it'll just do F***, which I hate.
It said that you said the word buck, and when I told you out loud, like, oh, it thinks you said buck, it wrote it thinks you said budget. So again, it had trouble with my accent. But also, you had commented that this was a very Microsoft Teams-like interface, disturbingly so. And I think that maybe we've found something here, if it just it's so prone to believe that I just said the word budget, maybe there's something going on here. It's been trained on some business teams.
The business call is coming from inside the house.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of fuck, it thought I was quoting Crime Mob's luminary "Nuck if you buck," I suppose.
Sure. Other than that,
appreciate that, James.
You're welcome.
Other than that, it was pretty cool. Sometimes, bringing up, I do have a spoiler alert, I guess, for the rest of my new business. I got a Controller Pro 2. But I used the C button, and it brought up the menu for the game chat, which does not automatically pause your game. So that was interesting. My game of F-Zero would have just continued on, without me if I hadn't turned it back to the game. So press the C button, go into the chat, then I can select basically your screen to blow it up and just watch that if I need a distraction from my own gaming. Other than that, I don't think there were any other important features there. I think I basically tried it all, and it seems really done well. I could see how, I don't know, I forgot his name, so I can't make the joke. Who is the actor of Ant-Man?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Yeah. So I could see myself hanging out with Paul Rudd and some unknown kid, if game chatting away, if that was a possibility. But it was pretty cool. And today I just got the Controller Pro 2. And have we talked about it yet here, or no? No one has it.
No, I haven't.
So, no.
I'm kind of. I mean, it all sounds very good. The people have used it, but I'm just kind of, it's been an outlay.
Yeah,
I'm just kind of, it'll happen eventually.
Right. My goal, my plan had been wait for a sale or whatever, but I did get a Best Buy gift card, and I was like, okay, well, I can pay for half of it, so might as well get it now. Why would I deprive myself of a controller that can actually wake the Switch 2 from a distance? I think that's this and that, and the C button might actually have been the two reasons why I was most excited to get a freaking.
No, well, I did get the
controller.
I did get the GameCube controller alongside the system, and it can do that, but with no game chat button. But it can wake the system up.
It doesn't have the game chat button?
Oh, maybe it does
crazy.
Actually, but I just don't.
No, it does
because it's up the top. Yeah, I just don't. The difference is this: for the life of me, every time I'm using the Joy-Con attached to the system, when I want to hit the menu, I hit the chat button. When I'm using the GameCube controller, that never happens because just the positioning, for whatever reason, my finger just naturally goes to the right place there. Whereas with the Joy-Con, it's the Switch 1 kind of muscle memories kicking in. And it's no, don't. But I can't be told at this point. I'll train myself out of it eventually, but we're not there yet.
So yeah, so I just got it now, so I don't have I haven't had the full experience of the Pro Controller 2, but it seems the first thing you notice is that it's very heavy. So I guess that makes me feel a little bit better about it being more expensive than the previous one. Okay, well it's more packed with stuff, so I guess I can accept then that I'm paying more for this. I'm getting more pound per buck or something. I don't know. The C button works as advertised. I'm happy to have it now, and I'm happy to be able to wake the Switch 2 from a distance. I don't notice anything wrong, especially with the C sticks. Justin on NintendoWorldReport.com reviewed that. He was very critical of it. I don't think I'm as discerning, as discriminating as Justin is about this stuff. So, like, I was perfectly fine, again, playing F-Zero while distracted, played on second difficulty, the easiest cup, and it seemed responsive to me, the C-sticks. The D-pad, I haven't had the opportunity to really put to the test. Like, I tried testing it on Game Boy Tetris, but that's hardly the biggest test that you could try to, have it pass. Sometimes I did feel like maybe I was doing a wrong input, but I don't, it might have been a user error. I don't know if I'm good enough at Tetris to be able to tell when it's the controller's fault or my fault when something bad happens. So, yeah, I can't really speak to that. But, I guess ultimately, I'm glad I got it. Maybe at some point also, I'll want to plug in the headphones in there. That's going to be useful more than using the Bluetooth has been, at least on the first Switch. And that's basically it for my new business. I don't have any new games that I've started. I've just been playing more Mario Kart. I did finish first a couple of times on the Knockout Tour online, and I was surprised by that. I didn't think I was doing all that well, and it's a very chaotic mode, and often when you fail to make the cut, that you're not one of the first 8, the first 4 racers to get through. It often feels like bullshit. Like you just got hit by a bunch of shells, and it's just unfortunate, right? And what's sad, kind of, is that when you win, you kind of feel the same way. You're like, well, did I really earn this, or was I just lucky?
Or did I just not get bullshit this time?
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so I would, I'll take those victories anyway. Don't get me wrong, but it's a more fun mode still, despite the bullshit, than just single races, I think. I tried to do the single races thing a couple of times, but there's just too much downtime between two races. There's no... I can't remember exactly how it goes, but you can't just do a cup, go through all the 4 tracks in one go. You have to select a new track every time. Everyone votes. It takes a while. While you're voting, you have the opportunity to free roam. The P switches are gone, but you might find I think that the Peach medallions are still around.
Yeah, and the tiles as well. I think you can see them, and so it can be amusing sometimes when it's oh shit, they're about to start the race. I gotta get this medallion now. I'll forget.
And I often didn't, which really sucked. I was like, it was right in front of me, and I couldn't get it. But yeah, just to say that, just single races, there's a lot of downtime between races, so it's not terribly exciting. You kind of get a lot of opportunity to just be like, you know what? I think I'm done with Mario Kart for tonight, and then you exit out. Whereas with the Knockout Tour, maybe you fail early, and that you might be energized to try again. I can do better than being eliminated, not even being part of the first 16 racers. Like, come on. And so you just start another race. Or, like you actually win and, again, like it's you've had you've spent a significant amount of time racing already if you made it to the end. So you're satisfied also. The single races, not so satisfying. And I guess like one final comment is I think that it has been pairing me with my friends list, but I can't tell for sure because all the Spencers, all the Gregs, all the, like there are Tims, like those are all names I recognize from somewhere or other online, but like I don't know if they were my people. There was a Kal-El at some point. I do have someone from the IGN days, like who still goes by Kal-El, but could be 1,000 Kal-Els out there. Like, so not even that. So there's always at least like one name that I recognize, and I'm just like, do I know you? Maybe not. And there doesn't seem to be any way to know for sure. So that's annoying. So I guess I would need everyone to just like tag yourselves, like maybe like add like @Guy at the end of your names so that I know.
I'm the one with the flesh colored whistle to bring it back to Mario Kart Wii. You're right. We just need worse names. We just need more potentially offensive names. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. I can't remember what the name of that racer was.
It's the other half of the joke. It's BJ.
BJ, that's right. I just can't remember his name. I remembered the name was Oral Sex Adjacent. I just couldn't remember what the name was.
I'm presumably a big Bowser Jr. fan, but I don't know whether he was in Mario Kart Wii.
Probably not, actually. And then it's a glaring omission. What can I say? There's no Mii's in this game though, so I guess we really can't do our own, which makes me sad. Yeah, I guess we just need to come up with worse names. Guillaume, I think you should lead by example on this front.
Very deliberate sticker choices, I think, is what that's a sticker that only a very particular kind of person would pick.
A discerning customer would pick this sticker.
Enough time acquiring all these stickers. It would be nice to think of them having some sort of utility, but I think I'm stretching it.
I haven't quite figured out what they even do. Is it just an indicator on your profile?
Yeah, it's just something to put on your profile. Exactly. I mean, there's nothing.
Fuck that.
Yeah, that's pretty useless.
I don't need that shit.
Yeah,
that's boring.
It's just kind of. I mean, really, you could kind of look at it as a sticker album, and it just kind of shows, like, especially because they tend to have some sort of tie to the location where you earned it from. So like the bit that's like a throwback to a Super Mario Kart track, that part of the world, the stickers there are just like the sprites from Super Mario Kart and stuff. So it's like, okay, you could look through the album and think, oh yeah, that's when I was doing a bunch of stuff in that part and that part. But yeah, really, in terms of displaying it to anybody else, you can only display one on your kind of right. Like little, and if you've got a friends list, like you'll have like but they're kind of like little ID cards, for all your friends that are online at the moment. And then, they'll have the character they're using and the sticker next to it, but that's as far as it goes.
So you may have just convinced me, but I need some follow-up answers here. You said there is a sticker album. Is there a list of all of the stickers that are available that fills in as I collect them?
No, that's the thing. That would be better, wouldn't
it?
It's just
I'm back out.
All you could do is just you go to your list of stickers and you can sort them. I'm not exactly even sure what the different sorting options are, but that's it. Yeah, again, much like we talked about, whereas those like panels, it does tell you there's 5 in this area and they fill in as you get them. The stickers are more like the P switches, where it's just like, yep, you're getting more. With how many are there? I don't know. It is the kind of thing that could change with an update. I mean, let's not forget, like with Breath of the Wild, that whole Heroes Path thing that they updated it with, where it's like after so long, where it was you could actually see, where you'd been all over Hyrule and stuff. Like, maybe it's waiting for something like that where eventually where it's going to be, okay, we're ready to kind of, pull the curtain back here and show you this is actually how many stickers there are. This is actually how many P-switches there are, medallions. And, if you've, enjoyed collecting a bunch of them to this point and really dying to know, how many more there are. I'm sure there will be, crowdsourced kind of information on those sorts of things as well, but maybe Nintendo will intervene at some point and have an update that kind of shows that. But that would be nice. Again, something to just, kind of contextualize, what you have actually done to this point relative to what else is out there.
I can't wait. I can't wait to know how many there are. It's the most important thing in the world to me now. Anything else you wanted to talk about with Mario Kart?
No, that's basically it.
Well, I disagree because we're going to do one email because we have not done email in a while. It should be pretty quick. I'm going to read it. I'm going to reopen it because I closed it because I'm stupid. GX writes, Dear Radio Free Nintendo, I'm writing to you on behalf of Mushroom Kingdom Automotive Consortium because a number of our companies have expressed interest in sponsoring your podcast program. We will leave it up to you to how to present these companies and their products. However, we will not describe the specifics of the products, the company, or the representative spokesperson and or CEO. If you would like to speculate on it, that is at your discretion. The potential sponsors are, all of which are real sponsors in Mario Kart World: Garlic Power Pure Engine, Grohl Metal, Stingby Biofuel, Swoop Car Interior Shop, Muncher Coffee Roaster, and Waluigi Vintage Clothing. We look forward to hearing back regarding which of these fine companies you would like to work with. I want to point out that we are not available for sponsorship. We are available to sell out. It is different. It is much nakeder and much less effort. So please.
Brazen is the word.
Yeah. Like, see, if
Shameless.
It's marketing, we have to like pretend that we're professionals. We are explicitly asking you to have us sell out. We want the free money, and we will debase ourselves accordingly in order to get it in a more expedited fashion. But of the choices presented here, we've got quite a few, and I don't believe in biofuels. I don't believe in them.
I don't believe in vintage clothing or clothing at all.
All right, well, I didn't need to know that. I don't agree in wearing clothing that's been handled by Waluigi.
But Luigi literally wears the same clothes in every game. That guy knows nothing about vintage clothing. That makes no sense.
Good news, John. It's not Luigi. It's Waluigi. It's much worse.
Oh, it's Waluigi. Okay.
Yeah, and in this game, he's got the top costumes. He's got the mariachi costume we mentioned last week. He's got the vampire, where he's pretty much just the Count from Sesame Street. I mean, what that you want to talk about vintage clothing? There it is.
I stand corrected.
So swoops don't have hands. So I respect that they are still striving to work in the field of their passion. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't think they got it in terms of doing car interior work.
It seems like hands are optional anyway in the Mario Kart world now, because you've seen what can drive the fucking carts.
Goomba.
I want to know how the fishbone does it. Like, how? Like, he's not
talked about this. It's a supernatural thing in the first place because it hasn't got any flesh on it. So it's obvious. It's a ghost possessing a skeleton of a fish. So maybe it can just telekinetically control the car.
Does that mean
or maybe the car is part of it?
Yeah,
like
it's possessing the car and the fish at the same time. I don't know.
He died as he lived. A car. Does that mean that? Does that mean that Dry Bones Bowser is also a Bowser skeleton possessed by a ghost that just happens to be Bowser's ghost?
Well, I mean, the only time we've really seen Dry Bowser emerge is in New Super Mario Brothers, right, where Bowser Jr. performs a kind of black magic ritual. So, I mean, yes,
true.
I assume Bowser Jr. summoned the spirit of his dad back from the netherworld to occupy his bones.
What if he didn't summon? What if we just didn't realize it yet, but he actually fucked it up and he summoned Wrinkly Kong? It turns out she just kind of sucks. Like, it's the possibility is the possibilities are endless. But in terms of my sponsorship choice, I feel like the write-up here, the request for proposal, the RFP, as we say in the industry space here, might have undersold one of our options, which is garlic power. They ignore the fact, its tagline, pure endurance. And so the question to you is that it's the Waluigi stylized mustache, the one that looks like a W. The Wario stylized mustache, the one that looks like a W. And his face has essentially been supplanted by the onion bell that looks like a nose. Looks like his nose specifically. It's very deeply symbolic. Excellent logo design by the marketing team. Excellent logo.
So unfortunately, I think it says garlic power pure engine.
Oh, it does it? All we have are these very, foggy screenshots because these things are just in the background.
But the JPEG name is, it does say pure engine, like they spell it out.
Okay. And it's got to be a clove of garlic rather than onion, right?
It is garlic, yes. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said onion. It's late. But what if it is pure endurance? What if we can just change we're marketing. We don't have to tell the truth. What if we can, he's going to try to power a car with garlic. What if we also powered your life? Like, what if we just heavily imply that the usage of the garlic powder product from Wario will give you, to steal from the Simpsons quote again, sexual powers? Doesn't need to, but neither does stewing in his tent.
If that wasn't anything that Homer was actually claiming, it was merely speculation on Kent Brockman's part.
But see, the thing is, none of this goes back to previous conversations we've had about other great influencers like Wario putting together entire lifestyle brands that imply things that are so manifestly not possible for the product. I don't believe that saying that this garlic-based product can both power your car and power your sexual performance.
This is reminding me of the start of Predator, where I believe Jesse Ventura claims that chewing tobacco turns him into a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus.
See, that wasn't in the script. He just said that because he believes it.
I'll buy it.
That just sounds like something Jesse Ventura would say.
It's possible.
It's possible. If it makes you feel any better about that prospect, he is occasionally showing up on Saturday Night Main Event, which is like a monthly wrestling thing. John, would you say he sounds more incoherent than ever now?
Oh, absolutely. And just think about,
unhinged.
Predators from 1987.
Yeah.
So just think about Jesse Ventura back in 1987. There's a whole lot of juice running through those veins.
A whole lot of unprotected chair shots to the head, too.
Yeah, and who knows what kind of illicit drugs are also running through those veins.
It's amazing. At this point, they've done 3 of these. The first one, he's on the air for 40% of it. They immediately recognize they fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, it's 2 hours long. By the end of it, they're already cutting him out of segments. This is going really badly. You have professional commentators who are trained to improv who have nothing to say. Yeah. They are dumbfounded. They are mortified. By the third one of these, he's on it for like 5 minutes and still manages to create headlines with the bullshit he says.
But that's the thing. I think back in the day, Vince McMahon, he could pretty much just like look at him, look him off, and just keep rolling.
Yeah,
these guys can't do that.
What the fuck are you talking?
Yep.
Oh, it's beautiful. I adore it. So I'm just suggesting that if we were to start the Wario branded goop, which I don't know what you would call it, the garlic power should feature prominently as a key product in the lineup.
Well, yeah, it's a goop's an acronym, and garlic is the G. And
all right,
figure out the rest.
That's a good start. That's a good start. We got a vision here, and the goal is really just to get Wario a brand that he can sell. Because remember, Wario just wants to make money without working. Well, the best way to make money without working is to be the CEO. The CEO of a games company? That's a little tough work right now. CEO of a lot.
Well, he's tried it with WarioWare. It doesn't really seem to help.
He's not good at it. It's part of the problem.
In WarioWare Gold, it results in him going around with a piss pot stuck on his head.
But you know where not being good and not understanding the industry and having a terrible misunderstanding of how things work at the most basic fundamental level is probably beneficial right now? Healthcare. So hey, guess what? Wario branded health products. There you go. Like, it's an opportunity for them built for the moment of today for tomorrow. That's my
Anything in particular, if it goes on for more than 4 hours, that we should be worried about with some of Wario's?
You should be calling your friends and bragging about it. That's the Wario response to that. If lasts for more than 4 hours, sick dude, good job. It's the power of garlic.
The garlic endurance that you already spoke of. The garlic.
That's right. The garlic engine to power your garlic endurance.
I'll be honest. I kind of have a problem with all of these businesses, like associating with them, because, like, first of all, like Wario and Waluigi, do we actually think that we would ever see the money that they owe us? You know. Like, I don't think these guys...
No, it's a grift all the way down.
Yeah.
I mean, I payment up front. That's part of it. Like, he's not getting shit if I'm not.
But he's just going to give you like a 500 Wario dollary dues or whatever.
Right.
Like the bison
they're
dollar.
all painted
So
black, and you have to...
Yeah.
I don't know, wait for... I can't remember what the fucking grift was there, but anyway. Yeah, there's got to be something. But then again, like, all the other ones are not sentient? Or maybe everything is sentient in the Mario Kart world at this point. I don't know what's going on.
It seems like we're supposed to think that now that the cows drive in and everything, like it's more inclusive.
Right.
Although I think certain characters have been relegated to like cameos as brands rather than like driver characters anymore, like the Koopa Kids. Like I think you can still see like I can't remember what business it is that Roy Cooper is meant to be running. But he's doing something, but he's not in the game.
Isn't it headphones or something?
It could be. I mean, they're all over the place, to be honest with you. I mean, like, I think the one that really kills me is Rosalina selling cars. Is it a dealership or does she make the cars? I'm not entirely sure, but it's like, it's like this character that's essentially became one with the cosmos at some point, but now is like, nah, you know what? I could make some nice cars and sell them.
Maybe she's selling you back the carts that have been lost in space off the Rainbow Road for all these decades.
Road, yeah, maybe it is that is a little bit of a strange pairing there. I've got to say with that, and I mean with the Growl or whatever. I didn't even know those things had a name.
It's entirely possible they didn't before that asset was created.
It's like it's just the sort of metal discs that roll around, so ergo Growl, you know. But I mean, that is
they're also Pokemon, is what you're saying.
They may not have had a name before this, or maybe they did, and I've just never, to be fair, they've always named a bunch of things that they didn't particularly have to, and then, like, put all the names in the credits, and like Super Mario World or whatever, you know, I mean, that is something, it's kind of a tradition of the Mario series, so it's, but I sure as hell didn't know it until they put it on. And the biofuel thing just seems weirdly specific to me. Like,
yeah, that's just Big Soy trying to buy their way into Mario Kart. I'm not stupid. If God wanted my automobile to run on beans, he would have made my car full of beans. Done. Problem solved. The fuck is that even mean? What an insane phrase. All right, John, do some business.
What are you talking about? Where people? What kind of business do you want me to do here?
Well, so we've been tasked with picking one of these businesses from Mario Kart to put together its marketing plan.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
What's your pitch?
I don't know. I mean, my pitch for what? For Waluigi's vintage clothing?
Sure, if you want to pitch Waluigi's vintage clothing. How are you gonna put Waluigi's vintage clothing on the map?
I would say probably. I would say I would look at this kind of like with you know those Gap commercials kind of thing. Something very stylistic, except with with Waluigi getting flattened at the end. I think you would have Waluigi in each one of these vintage clothing outfits, and he would just get flattened at the end, and he would just float off like a leaf, just off camera until the next one comes in, and then he would pop into the next outfit.
But what he does to make sure that people know that it's not just something that someone's had in their closet for a long time has decided to start wearing again, is like the embroidered word mark of the brand is always flipped upside down. Mm-hmm. So that's how you know it comes from the vintage clothing Waluigi brand and you're one of the in crowd.
Mm-hmm.
From the real atelier of Waluigi.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. What a nightmare phrase that is. So many bad phrases in this email. Thanks for this, GX. We appreciate it, you monster. You too can torment this show by sending us email. That's right, email. What do you send email to? Why you send your email to rfn@nintendoworldreport.com. We've been kind of low on email because all the stuff going on, and we're going to get back to it. However, I won't be here next week. Work trip. I'll actually be back in town during recording, but it's going to be late, and I don't want to deal with that shit. I just want to go home, take a shower, and go to sleep. So that's what I'm going to do next week. So y'all will have to go with it. This is probably the most episodes I've missed in a 2-month window in years. But hey, gotta pay the bills. So with that said, Craig, music.
Sure.
I like music.
Well, so now I thought let's get actually something from Mario Kart World, the game of the moment. But I mean, you're spoiled for choice, aren't you? That's the thing.
So many songs in this game.
It seems truly vast. Even though I have played it for quite a while now, you keep hearing the stuff you haven't heard before. Is it quite a surprising amount from things like Yoshi's Island and, all these kinds of like more peripheral games that are more peripheral to like the mainline Mario series. Obviously very many, Mario Kart remixes and stuff. But, I'm inspired by the fact that obviously we had the DK Bananza direct just yesterday and all that. And I felt there's a choice here that I feel like could be essentially characterized as a fail state for DK Bananza, because it seems like DK Bananza is basically Pauline developing into a singer. She's like finding a voice. She like likes to sing, but it seems like we've got to kind of coax her talent out to like unlock these barriers and get deeper into the journey into the planet's core or whatever. So I'm thinking like, well, what would happen if we do not perform our duties as DK to help her, and she never becomes the established singing mayor of New Donk City or whatever, well, you'd end up with an instrumental version of Jump Up Superstar, which is exactly what Mario Kart World gives us. And I think even though obviously the kind of lyrics and the voice and all that is like very intrinsically associated with that song, it works really quite well as an instrumental. It's still, very fundamentally similar, big and brassy and all that, but it just works this way as well. And we've never used Jump Up Superstar as closing music, as far as I could tell, funnily enough. Wow. So, not the most obscure example from this soundtrack by any means, because it goes places by all accounts. But, one that works very well, I think.
Big and brassy is also how they describe you on Wario's garlic power. So on that horrifying image, it's time to go. Bye, everybody.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.